Welcome to the channel, Conscious Growing Gardeners. I am Farmer Tom, the Garden Guru, aka Mr. Notes, right? So today's conversation, y'all, uh, besides getting ready for that fall garden, right? So we can grow our own vegetables. I tell you guys that it's very important that you do to grow your own food. In this time and day and age, you should know how to grow simple beans and peas and greens, cabbage and lettuce and stuff like that, and tomatoes. You should know how to grow those things so that you can feed yourself just in case, right? And then the health benefits that you get from eating your own food, okay? It is a science, but it is not rocket science. You can learn this, okay? So we got the simple uh, seed starter kit, right? The seed starter trays, right? They're simple trays that have trays on the inside of them where you can water them from the bottom, so you don't have to. So it's a bottom to the trays where you can water, so you don't have to water directly into the soil, into the seeds, and disturb the seed, right? They also have tops on them, so they're like greenhouses. They can be removed. Okay, once the seed starts to sprout, it gets too tall, or you don't want it to get too lanky. You don't want it to be too hot under there, so you want to give it some natural air as well too. So getting ready for that fall garden, you have to look out for that, right? So today's conversation is we just gonna politic about what's going on in certain areas of our lives, right? Uh, Especially uh, out here in these streets, on these YouTube streets. We're just gonna have a conversation about it. I talk about that a lot. Um, Really, sometimes I say I'm gonna say things, and that might be like the topic of my conversation for a little while. But sometimes we move on. It just depends on sometimes when my spirit taking me. You know what I'm saying? What I see around me. Sometimes I go live because I feel inspired to go live, right? And I want to say something about something I seen or something, and I want to have my opinion. You know what I'm saying? On this channel, so I give my opinion, and sometimes that can get you censored. That can get you get you striked, get your channel blocked, and it shouldn't be because so like yesterday I was watching well, not yesterday but a couple of days ago I was watching Bootsy, Mr. Mr. BAD Bootsy, right? He was on the radio show, the Breakfast Club, and they were going at him a little bit, and Bootsy was talking about the fact that he some of the things that he have said has gotten his like his Instagram, where he do business at, closed down, his Twitter and stuff closed down, for I think what he had said something about Lil Nas X. I think that was what the comment was made, that he said that Lil Nas X was going to do he wanted to do his video, uh his performance. He wanted to do his performance, excuse me, not his video. He wanted to do his performance like he did his video, and have a bunch of guys up on stage and they be naked and dancing. And Lil Boosie said that if he was there, Lil Boosie, badass Boosie, sorry, yeah, he ain't, it's always these littles and youngs. But Boosie says if he would have been there, he'd have snatched that nigga off stage, which is his exact words. And they got, upset with him, and some of the things he's been saying. And so a lot of these people that own these platforms, that own these social media accounts, they are, they are part of the L.B.G.T.Q community. Obviously, they definitely agree with that lifestyle, and I believe that they're not only are they believe in it and they support it. I believe that they are a part of it in a lot of ways and efforts. I think a lot of people that are. And so if you say anything against them, immediately you shut down. So um, Charlemagne was listening to him say it, and he was like, man, Charlemagne was listening to Boosie explain, what he was saying, and what he said. And so Charlemagne's argument is that, well, what about the drugs and the guns and the women and all that in hip hop, and nobody said anything about that. Uh, Maybe not the rappers, but some people were saying it, and I know they were saying it because I remember at one point in time they was putting out albums, and you did not know. See, I've been around hip hop my whole life. I've been around hip hop since hip hop first started. So Charlemagne, he get pulled that shit on TV and on the radio, on his stories and his little comments and stuff, because he think, he got a lot of young listeners, but he forget it's a lot of people who was around when hip hop started, and we know when hip hop when they started cussing on hip hop, at first they didn't have those parental uh, stickers on the how you buy a CD or a tape, and if they're cussing, they got uh, profanity, they have to put the parental stickers on there. Those stickers weren't on there at first when hip hop first came out. When people first started cussing and going off, okay, they weren't on there. I believe that if memory serves me correct, I believe that I want to say Ice-T had an album and they didn't have it on there. And when they first started doing it, they had to make them people put them stickers on there. Because why? Because people were complaining that these kids could go into the store and buy these albums and take them home, and nobody knew what the fuck they had on their CD or tape until their parents finally heard it. Till their parents was gone out of the house somewhere, and the kids were playing the music, and your parents come home and you don't know your parents come home, and you in there blasting your shit, and usually they at home, you got them on your headphones on so they can't hear, and you listening to NWA or Too Short or whoever you was listening to back then, right? But if you got caught, in your basement or in your bedroom with the door closed with that shit blasting, and your parents could hear that mess, a lot of them weren't okay with us playing that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So um, they it became a big issue in the hip hop community, and they started putting those explicit lyric tags on those CDs and tapes, and that would make it hard for young people to go uh, into record stores, because people going into record stores then, and to buy a tape or a CD without your parents, if they had that explicit thing on there, unless you knew somebody that worked at a record station who wasn't going to stop you or judge you or card you to see if you were 18 and older to buy it or not. you know. But I bought several tapes down at my malls and stuff. Like we had malls and stuff back then, and you go and they have record stores inside the mall. Shout out to my city, Cleveland. We be downtown Tower City, and they had I worked down the street at the shoe store. It was a huge shoe store. Anybody knows about that shoe store? Mike Tyson and Crazy Bone was just talking about it on the podcast. It was a huge shoe store. I worked there. It was one of the most. It was right there by Mr. Allen's hat wear, and it was called Family Sportswear, and it had shoes all in the window. Everybody know about that store. It was one of the most popular stores. People could never remember the name, but the name of the store was called Family Sportswear. It was it was in Cleveland, Ohio, right behind the Q, right behind the Gun Arena, and we would leave there and go. We could either go across the street and buy a CD, or we could go to Tower City. And Tower City had a record store in there, and I remember I went in there to buy a record because they didn't have it across the street, and I went to buy it, and they ID'd me. They wanted to know if I was 18 or older, because what I was buying had an explicit lyric. I can't even tell you that they specifically what I was buying, what CD or tape or whatever I was buying, but whatever I bought, they wanted me to have ID for it. And so they started doing that to keep the young folks from getting hold to the tapes and the CDs and stuff, of course. So they did do some things to change so that people wouldn't just have direct access to hip hop. So even though they did have explicit lyrics and talking about women and cars and money and drugs on their CDs, they had to put those tags on those CDs if they were doing that. Okay, so this wasn't a free reign. Uh, Nowadays, it's just downloads and videos, and you can see that shit anywhere you want to. You know what I'm saying? Unless your parents got your YouTube at your house on your phone or on your TV, marked as you being an underage person. You know what I'm saying? You can see that, and most parents don't know that much about technology. Most of them ain't thinking about, oh, my YouTube page and my channel, and unless they watch YouTube and they into that kind of stuff, and they know. You know what I'm saying? And most parents that buy kids their phones, they don't go around programming their phone like, here, let me make sure you ain't got no access to no grown stuff. So everybody has this kind of stuff on their phone. The internet is just wide open pretty much. So one of the things I disapprove of a lot of things people say, so I just say what I want to say based upon what I know. You know what I'm saying? And I think I'm older than Charlamagne, so I've been around hip hop longer than he had been. He can act like he got a job, and he worked for this company, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not an act. He does actually work for these people, but let's just keep it real. How much research do you do about hip hop before you open your mouth and say shit like that? You know what I'm saying? They actually I remember that time when we were trying to get access to these tapes and CDs, and you couldn't, and because they had the parents had went, people can make changes to you can't, in other words, watch this. In other words, there was a such thing as called freedom of speech. It wasn't like the parents could go into the world and say, you know what, I don't want my kids watching this or hearing this or seeing these videos and this, and we want to destroy hip hop. And no, they couldn't do that because of freedom of speech. Right, and there was a lot of money being made in hip hop at that time too. They could see that it was growing. That's way more money being made now, and that's because there's way more revenue out here. There's way more people with more money now. Okay, the average person back then, if a person right now has been on that same job for those 20 years or 25, 30, 40, 50 years that hip hop's been out, believe me, that person's more well off now. Even if they still making the same amount of money it was back then, they didn't accumulate that much more money over that time. There's way more money out here, so that's why it's easy for people to make more money off hip hop. Hip hop has grown as a culture, as a music standard, in a music period. Right, it's a big to do, and back then it wasn't as big as it was pretty big. It's pretty big. It's still $1 million business, but now it's I'm sure it's close to $1 billion, over $1 trillion business, because you got rappers and stuff that's making millions now, and back then you probably didn't, barely, but yeah. So that's not true, about. And then so we didn't, because of the amendments, because the ability, because of the ability to have freedom of speech, you couldn't shut these people up, so they put a sticker on it so you couldn't buy it, right? So Charlamagne was talking about, back then they had talk about guns and rap. Yeah, but you couldn't get the CD unless you were old enough. Now, of course, there's ways around it. Of course, your friends had it. You knew your older brother who had it. So it wasn't like it was completely out of the kids' hands. But at least there was an attempt to not censor somebody, but to control whether the kids heard it or not. Now they just censor somebody. They don't like what they say. They just censor them. It's bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And so why I'm saying it's bullshit is because obviously Boosie was talking about them cutting his Twitter, his Instagram off or whatever, and that's part of his business. And so Charlamagne was quick to jump, on, oh, you can't say stuff on there, you can't say stuff like that on there. And here's the thing, uh all these platforms are going to end up being sued like crazy because they're fighting now, and they know they are. And Charlamagne, you need to shut the fuck up. Once again, I mean, I hate ignorance, man. That guy has a lot of he has a lot of information that on certain things, you know what I'm saying. But then sometimes this guy just wants his way in certain areas. It's like being a sports commentator, but you can't really be fair in your commentating because you got a favorite team. So every time you comment, you want to talk about your favorite damn team, and you become belligerent or out your mind about what some of the stuff you saying. It ain't true, but you just talking bullshit because it's your favorite team. That's like being a fan instead of being a commentator. There's a difference between being a fan and commentating on sports. And this is what's wrong with these niggas out here. They don't know they fans or they commentators. So you got to be able to wear both hats and be able to take one off and be sensible. There's no law under the world that's gonna override freedom of speech. Not even having your own app and your own goddamn platform to say, hey, everybody can come over here and get over here and say what they want. And then they get over there, you want to amend and change the Constitution on your personal platform and say, hey, you can't say that over here. You can't say that over here. That's hate speech. That's this speech. That's that speech. You can't tell people how to talk. You can't. You know what I'm saying? That's an automatic lawsuit, and you could be in court all day, back and forth, figuring out if you got the right to censor somebody or not. And you're gonna find out in the end during the Constitution when it was created, you can't do that. I don't give a fuck what your platform, how powerful it is, how many followers you got, how many people you got, how many servers you got, how many people you got coming on your platform, and how many people you got downloading your material and using your apps and all this, and how much money you making, and you think you the big king. Eventually, the Constitution is gonna come and smack the piece of paper right in your face. We have gotten away from that. We want to change all the laws and all the rules, right? So that everybody can do and say what they want to say without being able to be offended. And then, well, don't say this because if you do, we over here don't believe in that. And see, it's fucked up. As long as you believe in some shit, right? As long as you believe in some shit and you got the whole play game in, then the person on that side can say anything. Like, let's just say, for example, I'm against Donald Trump. I can get on the platform and talk shit about him all day. Ain't nobody gonna censor that shit. The minute I say Joe Biden's name, or say something about the Democrats, or say something about the L.B.G.T.Q community, right? Everybody working on here talking about, oh, let's get censored, and we censored, and we done, we canceling, and we cancel culture, cancel. Who the fuck is y'all? Y'all. First, let's keep it real. Let's keep it real, okay? Let's just keep it real. The hip hop community is not a community of just gay people. Okay, I ain't got nothing against gay people, but gay people do not exclusively run hip hop, okay? I've been around hip hop since hip hop was first born. I'm one of the reasons why hip hop continues to go on to this day. Why? Because of my support, my love for it, my ability to do it, my fan support to the artists, the money that I've generated by either going to concerts and buying CDs or tapes myself. You know what I'm saying? Being around it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Watching it on TV, listening to it on my iPod, listening to it on Pandora. You know what I'm saying? I'm a huge supporter of music, and one of my favorite genres is hip hop. And no one community owns. I don't give a fuck how many people you got working in the community, in your community that working hip hop. I don't give a fuck how many people you got walking around talking about they artists. They're the artists. No one group, not even look, watch this. Stop it. Not even African American people can say they own hip hop. We are a huge part. Yes, it's our genre. We created it. Yes, but we don't own it. You know why? Because you got like you said, you got people in the L.B.G.T.Q community who support it, and they ain't all black. And that's in it. You got Jewish people, and if you notice the ISH mean ish, that don't mean Jew. I ain't say you a Jew. You a Jewish. So it's a kind of Jew, right? People be trying to, rule the world and take over hip hop and take over and use music, which is a very powerful tool to create different environments and to control our children and to get into their head, you know what I'm saying, and run them the way they want to, you know what I'm saying, which is a bunch of bullshit. And if I say that, I'm censored, right? So, I'm just keeping it real because I have kids, and I'm not saying that people don't have ideas to put in music, that people don't put sexuality in music, people don't put, everyday life in music. Of course they do. You know what I'm saying? But it's a difference between somebody putting something in music and somebody doing something to try to push an agenda on, on people. And we all know that if you pay attention, that Agenda 21 is a real agenda. That they have every intention on doing certain things, and some of the agendas that they can on doing is the population control, right? Now, what's a couple ways to control people, right? Population wise, right? Make people sterile, so they can't have babies, right? Make people sick, so they'll die off, so they definitely can't have babies, right? And the people that survive, if everybody walk around here talking about, well, I like me, the men like the men, and the women like the women, right? But you got the choice to choose that, right? But if you're being coerced to it, if you've seen it from a little kid on up, you know what I'm saying? If it's in your cartoons, if it's in your movies, if it's here, if that's all you've seen it, not only is they trying to normalize it, which they fault for not thinking it's not normal. You know what I'm saying? Because like if I'm doing something right and I'm comfortable with doing it right, in my own lifestyle, I ain't got to promote it to nobody else, because as long as I like it, I don't give a fuck what nobody else think. See, these people care about what other folk think. They want to get into people's minds and control them and make them and persuade them and be like, everybody should be able to all inclusive. You know what I'm saying? But if we was all inclusive, then we'd have been working on this a long time ago, right? We'd have been working on all inclusive long time ago, right? Not just for gay people. You know what I'm saying? For minorities in this country, period, or anybody of color in this country, right? We ain't got that together yet, right? And it's not like the L.B.G.T. community is completely denied of that. It's not like we don't have any minorities in this country or across the world who are not homosexuals or gay or lesbian. Okay, let's just keep it real. So why haven't we worked on that part of our lives first? Because you know what I'm saying? Because truly, think about it. If you're doing this for the right, not to be gay, you're doing this for the right to walk around so the whole world can know you gay. You can walk down the street and be gay, and I got people in my family gay. You wouldn't even know they was gay until you asked them, or you just saw them do something. Right? Other than that, you know what I'm saying? If you ain't doing something in your bedroom, why somebody got to know you gay or not? It's just difference between what you want to do and what you want to be, and what you want everybody else to know that you are. The people be talking about, oh, the pride of it all, the pride. So I'm supposed to have pride in my heterosexualness. I don't even think of that shit. I don't get up every morning like, you know what? I should have pride in being a heterosexual. I just am. We lost our goddamn minds, right? We're trying to figure all of this shit out to try to make ourselves feel better about some shit that we doing. And if we actually knew it was right that we were doing it, we wouldn't have to figure out a way to be proud of it. And I'm not judging nobody. I'm just saying 100. I'm just keeping it real. If you happy, like if I go run, if I join a track team when I was in high school, and I start running track every day, and I go practice every day, and I go to my games and I run practice, and I win some of the track practices, some of the races I run, and I start becoming in first, and we end up going to state. I'm gonna be proud of that, of my performances, And I don't care who comes there or not, right? And the reason why I tell the story is because I actually did run in school. You know, I actually did go to state, and we actually won. You know, I ran cross country, which is weird because you think a black guy would be a sprinter, but I ended up being able to run a long distance. I trained, and I got my body together to be able to run long distances, and I was able to do it, and we was able to go to state and actually win state. And guess what? My family didn't come to those runs. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have a lot of support. You know, my mom didn't stop me from doing it, but they didn't. My father and mother didn't show up. Well, my father wasn't there, but my stepfather definitely didn't show up. And my mother and them, they didn't come to my sit down and watch me run or come to my sporting events. They didn't. They weren't supported like that. They were doing their own thing. You know, they were living their own lives. And you know, I guess they weren't thinking like that. You know, would I have rather had them there? Of course, you want people to support you, but I still loved doing what I was doing. And I came home and I told them about it. I showed them my ribbons. I showed them my awards, and I didn't hide it because I was proud of it. You know what I'm saying? Now, some people say, well, people be hiding stuff because they worried about what other people think about what they gonna say about it. Watch this. Here, nigga was like this. Look at this. See this right here. See this? This is my hand. This hand, I've been like this I'm 49. I've been like this for 49 years, right? Right? You want to talk about somebody hiding something, right? Or having to hide something or feeling like they got to hide something, right? Because you're worried about what somebody think about, right? It's not like I don't understand that, right? Not from that perspective of sexuality, but it's not like I don't understand thinking about hiding something because it's different than everybody else, and you worried about how somebody feel about it. You can't do that all your life. You can't spend your life doing that. You know what I'm saying? You can't sit around contemplating every move you make in your head and saying, man, somebody else gonna judge me for it. Somebody else ain't gonna like me because I'm like this. Somebody else ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? You bring a depression upon yourself. If you don't love yourself for who you are and what you got and what you're doing what you're doing in your own life, then change it by all means. And if you can't, then learn to deal with it. Learn to live with it. Learn to love yourself especially before you go out there trying to find somebody to love you. There's nothing that kills me about people. You don't even love yourself and the skin that you in and the things that you do every day, but you want to run out here in the world and get somebody to love you. You so busy worried about your sexuality and who gonna be with you because of it and who gonna be down with you and accept you for who you are. You don't even accept yourself yet. You still hiding from yourself. Lie to y'all motherfuckers. That's why we gotta have it. That's why you gotta have an L.B.G.T. community, because people be hiding from themselves. You ain't even comfortable with your own self. Did you get comfortable with yourself? Don't expect other people to be around you comfortable with you. And how do I know this? Because I've been like this for 49 years. This is not a homophobe, but I definitely can't play it off like I don't have three fingers. I can't act like I'm a five-fingered guy. But if you're straight or if you're gay or you're a lesbian, you can be whatever you want to be. Even straight guys can know how to play games and act gay, right? You can watch the Breakfast Club and see these niggas talking about, oh, we play gay games. Now watch this. Heterosexual men don't play gay games. We don't. We don't. And I went to school. I've had the opportunity to go to multiple schools. I went to school in other cities. I went to school in Atlanta. I had a chance to live in Texas for a little while. I didn't go to school there, but I went to school in Atlanta. And I also, of course, I went to school here in Cleveland, Ohio. So I got a chance to go to a lot of different schools in this city, as well as I went to like 3 different schools in Atlanta. So I'm well diverse in living in the suburbs. I lived in the projects before. Well, not in the project. I've lived there before too. I'm saying not in the projects. Yes, I have. I'm saying try to take that back, but I had to think about it. Yeah, I lived there before too. And so I've had a multitude of ways of different things, different ways of living and learning how to deal with people, right? So I've been in schools where it was nothing but me and maybe like 2 other guys, right? That was black, and everybody else in that school was were Caucasian people. You know what I'm saying? And we had a class like I was a freshman. We had a freshman class of 500 students. That's how big the school was. 500 students in just the freshman class alone, right? And it was a school full of white kids, and it was a couple of black people sprinkled here and there. Maybe 1 or 2, 3, maybe three guys and me. So 4 dudes total, black guys in the school. That's it. 1, 2, 3, and 3. It was like 3 black girls in the whole school. Everybody else was white. You know what I'm saying? So I understand. I've been around guys that talk different ways and say different things, right? And you can't blame that on skin color. You can't blame that on, you can only talk about gay games. You can't talk about, and then they asked him why he do it, right? He goes, I try to make men feel uncomfortable. What's funny about that? What if somebody punch you in the mouth? You know what I'm saying? For being disrespectful to them. You know what I'm saying? Or you think, let me get it. You think it's such a movement in the L.B.G.T.Q community that you can use it, right, to belittle other people. Y'all see this? Y'all see this L.B.G.T.Q community? Y'all so busy ready to turn up on anybody else, right, that says anything about y'all, that has their own opinion about being heterosexual or not, or not being gay, right? That y'all get offended quickly, right? But you're not offended when Charlamagne the God says he uses gay games to make other men feel uncomfortable. Then you wonder why you need a community. It's niggas like this. It's niggas like this who ain't gay, who claim he ain't gay. He ain't let nobody do nothing gay to him. All of this shit, right? On the radio, I'm straight, I'm married, I'm this, I'm that, right? But he goes around heterosexual men and he plays gay games to make them feel uncomfortable. Now, how we supposed to we have to get along as a community, because no matter what color you are, or no matter what your sexual preference, you still live in a community. How the community is supposed to understand the LGBT community and get along with them if you got straight motherfuckers playing gay games? And then when they asked him why he does it, he specifically says because he's trying to make straight men feel uncomfortable. Now, how straight men supposed to be able to start dealing with this and dealing with our sons? If our sons are gay, if our brothers are gay, if our community is gay, if we got people in the community gay, we want to have a dialogue and a healthy conversation about dealing with gay people or dealing with the LGBT community, right? If we got niggas who ain't even in the community making jokes why y'all ain't canceling this nigga. We always talking about canceling. We're gonna cancel the baby because he said he just took a dick. Yeah, and Charlamagne all up his ass like, yeah, he should have said that, or whatever he's saying in his little comments. You can't say things on social media, but you'll get on the radio every day and say shit that ain't even a part of your culture, talking about you just pay. It's just funny. You making men feel uncomfortable. Me using y'all community and the issues that y'all have in y'all community to tell a fucking joke. Which to me, in my opinion, right, it's an example of not only a culture vulture. He vulturing off y'all culture because it's hot because it's trending right now. Number one. Number two, he's also doing it and he's making it more impossible for straight and gay people to relate to each other, to understand each other, to respect each other. But y'all won't cancel him though, right? Charlamagne gets the pass because he's on the radio. He on the radio, just be playing. Some things ain't funny. Right now, in this time and day and age with things going on in our community, as far as this stuff is going on, we don't have time for a bunch of jokes all the time on certain levels. You know what I'm saying? People are sensitive. People's feelings get hurt real easily, and so sometimes, and here's the thing: he don't have no right to tell no jokes at all about gay people. He ain't gay or even act like he gay. Right? I heard that. If I'm not a homosexual, so I don't know, but I heard that was offensive. To sit up there and act like he gay and making jokes and shit, right? Some people got thick skin that don't bother them, right? It don't bother them, but nigga, how would you like it? How would you like it if like I know for a fact, and I'm not gay, but if I was gay and I was in a room and I was sitting there by myself and they came, him and DJ Envy was in there and I was sitting there and I heard these niggas making jokes about, gay jokes to each other, I would be offended because I know neither one of these niggas is gay. And I ain't even gay and I know that. So why the L.B.G.T.Q community, where you at? Why he getting away with this shit? Because he's Charlamagne? Because he got a girl name? Because he on the radio? Because he play hip hop? No, he's disrespectful too, man. He need to be checked. You know what I'm saying? He need to be checked. Y'all talking about canceling this person, canceling that person because they ain't down with y'all lifestyle. This nigga ain't down with your lifestyle either. But he'll say just because this the two-edged sword he play. What he'll do is he'll act like ain't no problem with it. Gay community, I ain't got a problem with it. And so he figured his jokes makes him a part of y'all. Yeah, I accept it. I'm down with it. I don't care anything about it. It's no different than people was doing the drugs and it's talking about our rappers are talking about drugs and guns and stuff. What's the difference? There's nothing wrong with nobody's committing no crime talking about gay stuff and this, that, and other. And I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I think Charlamagne on the down low. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem that we have in our community too. Too many niggas want to act like be who you are, motherfucker. Come out the closet. Come out the closet. Come out the closet. For real, I don't know this dude personally, but I watch this shit sometimes and I'm seeing this shit. This is going on in our community. This is going on in our areas. This is going on in our airwaves. And I have the right to talk about it as a person who not only embraced hip hop and love hip hop, but been watching it and supporting it my whole life. I'm not gonna let this nigga just have a platform to talk. My platform might not be big as he is, nowhere near. You know what I'm saying? But it's not fair that he sits up there and have these platforms and say these things, and nobody says anything to him because the first thing out of his mouth is he don't have a problem with gay people. But technically, you do, because you're trying to use their movement or their or the things that they're going through to try to get off on people, to make jokes. Somebody's sexuality probably ain't funny to them. You know what I'm saying? You miscommunicating your own the energy and trying to get away with it by saying you accept it. Till somebody offer you some sex from a gay person, and then you like, oh no, see, I don't, and nothing wrong with turning it down, but let's just keep it real. You don't have the right to use it as your tool. You don't have the right. It's not yours. You're not gay. You claim you're not. You don't have the right to say who should be canceled, who shouldn't be canceled. And if you go, believe me, I remember back in the day, making gay jokes was never accepted by gay people. You ain't gay, you can't do that shit. Now this nigga trying to pull it because he say he accept the L.B.G.T.Q community. Why? Because you play a couple gay songs, play a couple niggas songs that claim they gay only. Because you play a little Nas X, now you can sit there and play gay games with your friends and all that shit. And talking about you making people and then when they ask you why you doing it, oh, I'm making straight men feel uncomfortable. Instead of having a conversation and trying to figure out how we can all deal with it in our communities and how we can get along, how there can't be no more hate and we can be peace and love and understanding it. This nigga don't understand it, but it's okay for him to get on his syndicated radio station across the world and make funs and jokes about it, right? But nobody tries to cancel this nigga because he says he accepts it. The fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. And he's not, and I truly believe that Charlamagne is not being totally honest about the situation. He's not being totally honest. And then when somebody is being honest and being totally honest, brutally honest, if you don't like it, accept it, then you want to cancel the nigga. That's just his. We ain't even this country. We ain't even entitled to our own opinions no more. You know what I'm saying? And y'all motherfuckers still walking around accepting it like it ain't no big deal until they start censoring and taking away your freedom, telling you can't this and you can't that, and you can't this and you can't that. But some people, some motherfucking program, they don't even know when they being told what to do or not to do. Told to do. They think, oh, this is for the betterment of our country. We made a decision. Who made a decision? Ain't no we nothing. We the people don't make no motherfucking decisions. These motherfuckers make decisions and then tell us what to do and try to program us to see if we're gonna go along with it and do it or not. I like a little incident here.